Hey guys, Enigmatic Mr. L here. Welcome to a new series of mine, Fire Emblem Eugenics, where I take a look at every possible potential parent-child combination and genealogy of the Holy War and rank them from best to worst, from the ones I think are really great, ones that are they're all right, they're good, ones that are okay, ones that are kind of memes, and the why would you do this? So I did do something similar to this some time back. Fire Emblem Genealogy of the Holy War recommended pairings. That list was a little bit different in that I only covered like the best and the good ones as opposed to every single combination. Also, since then, I've had a few more playthroughs of Fire Emblem Genealogy of the Holy War. I know how some of these combinations work from personal experience. I've done some more research, so it's not just, your personal experience, your mileage may vary. And also, last time I did factor in like lovers' conversations in chapter 5, things that are like canon or semi canon. This time, that's not going to be a factor at all. I'm just going to be looking at things like stats, skills, weapon inheritance, holy blood, and how easy it is to get your units to pair off. So, starting off this series, we have Lana and Lester. So, these are our Iden's kids. So Lana's pretty much going to be fine regardless. She's just a staff bot. She heals. She'll do her job. She's limited to 5 move always, and she doesn't have any combat potential until after promotion. There are a few pairings that I think are particularly good for her, but generally speaking, more focus given to Lester. He really wants pursuit, solid strength stat, and bow inheritance. If Lester doesn't inherit any bows from his father, he's stuck on Iron Bow for chapter 6 and 7. He can purchase a steel bow in the armory in chapter 8, and then in that same chapter, there's the Brave Bow and Killer Bow drop. And I believe Silver Bow as well. Yeah, the Silver Bow is in Feeball's inventory, or Asalio if you have his substitute unit. So, yeah, with that out of the way, let's just get on the list, starting with Alec. Alec gives pursuit, which is something Lester really wants. Lana doesn't particularly care about it, but that is good. Otherwise, there's not a whole lot going on here. Stats he gives Lester, they're fine, they're all right. Nihil isn't really doing much for either of these. It does protect against like effective damage against like horse effective weapons, but that's pretty rare. The only one I remember offhand is like the boss in chapter 7 where you get your second dancer has a horse slayer, and that's his only weapon. So your bow lock, you can just poke at him at range and then retreat. So there's also just the fact that if you do this pairing, you do have to hold Alec back a little, like Cav movement to stay with Ideen, so it's not the most efficient one to get. But pursuit, that is at least something. It's better than Noish, who, yes, he does offer critical and he does offer a cost, but those are nice skills to have if you have them like in addition to pursuit, but just on their own without pursuit, they're not reliable enough to really get much of anything done. And the problem, the same thing like with Alec, just have you have to hold Noish back, and those should be, going ahead, rescuing villages, that sort of thing. You have to hold it back with Ideen, so not ideal. Ardan, uh, this is pretty poor pairing. Vantage doesn't really do much for either of these. Vantage on a healer who can't, initiate combat till promotion. Vantage on a bow user who generally is going to do most of their action on player phase. Yeah, but Arden is one of the few characters who can pass down bows, which I think at least puts him up into niche. He can't get the Brave Bow because that's like an event only with other pairings. And he can't do Silver Bow because even after promotion, Arden only has a B in bows. But he can pass down Steel Bow and Killer Bow. That is at least something. It's enough to put him into a niche. Azelle, this one's pretty solid. So Azelle starts with a higher love point total with Ideen as opposed to like your other units. And there's a potential talk conversation he has in chapter 1. You either choose him or Midir, or neither. It grants them 100 love points. So pretty easy to make. And before promotion, Azelle's locked to 5 movement just like Ideen. So fairly easy to make. Beyond that, doing the pairing itself gets you the rescue staff in chapter 4. It's the only way to get it that early. You have it chapters 4 and 5, but unfortunately, Lana only has B rank staffs by default, so she can't inherit it. And while I am generally largely looking at these pairings in a vacuum, like if a certain parent is really good, like the best parent elsewhere, and here's just good, I'm not going to penalize them for that. I'd still put them in good, the parent they're good at, even if overall it's probably better used elsewhere. But if you do this pairing, Azelle with Ideen, it pairs well with Claude slash Airness, because what you can do is have Azelle give Ideen the rescue staff, then give that to her to Claude, and Claude can pass it down to Ced. So you still get a little bit earlier than what you normally have. You'd have it for Chapter 9. You probably have Lee promoted by then, have a mounted rescue user. So that's nice. Beyond that, this is probably Lana's best combat pairing because it gives her the highest possible magic growth and it gives her pursuit, but it's not that impactful. Like the one time I did this pairing, I don't think Ideen did any combat outside of the arena once she promoted. Just again, 5 movement. Rather just have her like on staff utility, but that is something worth noting. Lester's fairly hurt by this pairing because Azelle, along with the other magical pairings, gives a poor strength stat, but he at least passes down pursuit. Like Lester's not great, but he is salvageable. You may have to like baby him a little bit. He's a good candidate for the strength ring, one of the two if you can spare that to patch up his low strength. But he's not like unsalvageable garbage. Lex, I think this is the one time like Ardan is generally seen as like the poor man's Lex. Like if you want to use Lex, but he's elsewhere, like do Ardan for pairing. This might be the one time Ardan has like a slight edge on him. Like Lex does have Paragon. Double EXP, I think, means he'll never go in like almost nothing. That's at least something. Like you can get Lana up to promotion faster for if you want to use it for combat, get her up to A rank stabs. That's at least something. The stats he gives to Lester, attack, defense, HP are nice, but the lack of pursuit really hurts and lack of bow inheritance. But being able to pass down uh being able to pass down bows to Lester, that's at least something. Honestly, I can still see something maybe like this, but I think here's fine. Finn, this one's all right. Does have the same problem with like Alec and Noish. You have to hold him back to pair with Ideen. This time it's even worse because Finn leaves at the end of chapter 3, and he doesn't have any ways to like speed up his love growth. He doesn't have a higher base as opposed to these two. Doesn't have any talk conversations. But if you do manage to get this paired, he passes down Pursuit. Very good for Lester. A solid strength set, and Miracle, which can be helpful for Lana if you accidentally overexpose her. She might survive when she otherwise wouldn't. Helps Lester, particularly in the arena. Can help him clear some fights he otherwise would have a very difficult time winning. Beyond that, if you do this pairing, Finn and Ideen have a talk conversation in Chapter 7, which gives her a +5 to magic. Generally, like I said, Lana's combat doesn't particularly matter much, but if you do give her like high magic, she can do some things like, say maybe like put the Pegasus Knights in the in-game, those tricky ones to sleep, silence certain enemies, reach those thresholds. The stat cap for High Priest for magic is 27. Just is never going to reach that critical 28 plus magic range to silence Ishtar, but can still sleep and silence other things. That nice. Helps out both of these kids in one way or another, even if you have better options for each. And held back a little bit by how you kind of have to hold Finn back and for a good number of turns by Dean's side when he should be out there doing something else. Midir, I would say, is overall the best pairing in most practical contexts, as she gives down bow inheritance, or he gives down bow inheritance and pursuit to Lester, two things he really wants. Doing this pairing with Ideen, there's a talk conversation in Chapter 4 where he gets the Brave Bow. You can start working on kills on that thing. You're probably not going to get up to crit potential, but you can start a few chapters early. Then Lester gets it at the start of chapter 6, start the second generation, continue working from there. Also has a cost, which when you have it in addition to Pursuit, it can be a nice thing here and there. Lester generally is he'll be attacking at range. Preferably things are only like one range, so because its HP should stay high, should activate here and there. So it's helpful when it does work in practical combat. It doesn't really do anything for the arena, but still overall, I would say this is the best pairing. Midir and Ideen, like I said in Chapter 1, if you use Midir instead of Azelle, they give a boost to 100 points to their love potential. And Midir starts with a better love base with Ideen as opposed to other characters. Do This one's all right. It does sacrifice Lester quite a bit because no bow adherence and no pursuit. But Lana gets bargain. Having a staff user with access to bargain allow her to like spam stabs to maybe like reach promotion earlier, or just more importantly, like once you're already promoted, being able to use those really powerful, expensive stabs like sleep and silence, and only pair them for like 15,000 or 10,000 gold or something like that. That's pretty impactful. The stats he passed down to Lester are pretty nice. I think, like, besides magic and resistance, which are still higher with him as opposed to many other pairings, besides those two, every stat is, growth is at least 50%. The main problem is, of course, the lack of pursuit. But still, good pairing. Do has a similar movement to ID, and even though you might want to have him away here and there to gap gold, still not the most difficult pairing to get. When he gives I didn't think it's like the warp staff. There's a talk conversation like chapter 1 that boosts their love growth a little bit. It's an all right pairing. Jamke is pretty solid. Like with Midir, he has a Bravo conversation with Ideen. If you do the pairing in chapter 4, you can pass that on to Lester. Main problem with him, as opposed to Midir, is that Pursuit is a class skill on him. He does not pass it down to Lester naturally. So there is that. However, I do think this is one of the pretty good pairings if you can spare the Pursuit ring. I don't want to mention that for every single potential pairing. Well, hey, if you have the Pursuit ring, bump this one up like or so. But this is a pretty common one. Like if you have the Pursuit ring to spare, if you can, then I would say it's better than Midir. Midir grants better magic, which doesn't really affect anything for Lester. There are no magic bows. Jamke and Beowolf have the worst magic in the game. It grants a little bit more speed, but it's not a significant amount. Jamke is still going to meet Jamke following Lester is still meet doubling thresholds. The big problem is Jamke, despite having good base skill, his skill growth is very low. Lester with this combination has a 20% skill growth, so it's not so great. You can do like give him one of the 2 skill rings. Those aren't that contentious of a resource. Not many characters use them. Maybe like Ira's kids to have a higher chance of activating their skills, but Lester's on a mount. We'll see more action than the footlock unit, so there is that. The main advantages of Jamke as Midir, he has a little bit more luck, offsets his lower speed, equally chance of being dodgy. More HP can help like in the arena or in cases where you are taking counterattacks, and a significant amount more strength. He has Adept, but the Brave Bow is just treated like a bow that always triggers Adept, so it's not that useful. Can be useful here and there, maybe for using the Killer Bow to like fish for crits, but generally speaking, I would say not as good as Midir just because doesn't have Pursuit. Jamke doesn't have any conversations with Ideen that can speed up the pairing, but his base love points are higher than many other pairings, so it's a pretty easy pairing to get. Holyn. He casts down really good HP and skill to both of the kids, thanks to his Holy Blood, but that's about it. There's no practical reason to do this pairing. Luna is for foot sword units only, so neither of them get that. And just like with Jamke, Pursuit is a class skill on him. He does not pass it down. So no general practical reason to do this pairing. Next we have Lewyn. So even though I'm trying to, in these lists, exclude other pairings, it's kind of hard to talk about that with Lewyn because generally if you pair Lewyn, you want to be able to pass it down for to someone who can use it. So any pairing that doesn't is really hurt by that, just in terms of like opportunity cost. But even ignoring that, the main problem with Lewyn is that just like the magic pairings, he passes down a poor strength growth, and even though his magic growth is better than like the non-magic pairings, it's lower than Claude's and lower than Azelle's, so it doesn't really help Lana that much. It does have Adept and Critical, but no Pursuit. Again, since Lana is mostly going to be healing, higher magic isn't that impactful. Can be useful in there, like silence to sleep enemies, but still doesn't grant that much of it. So no Pursuit, no bow adherence, low strength. Generally, just no reason to go with this pairing. Beowolf is like Alec, I think, but slightly better. Same problems Alec Noish. Do have to hold them back to get this pairing. But Beowolf passes down Cost, unlike Nihil. And I think Cost is a much more useful skill in a bow unit. who's going to be doing a lot of player phase action where hopefully they won't be taking counterattacks. And their HP is staying high. Hopefully with good enough speed, they can occasionally get second round of combat in, which is nice. But that's about it. No bow inheritance, nothing particularly special. And Claude. Many people would probably put Claude, here as the best, but some other people would probably put him like here or so. So Claude, just like with Azelle, he has a talk conversation with Ardan, this time chapter 5, where he grants her the rescue staff. But in this pairing, unlike in Azelle, thanks to the Holy Blood, if you do this pairing, Lana has A-rank staffs at base, so she can inherit the rescue staff. You have the very start of the second generation. Really helpful, especially in chapters like 7, all that sand impedes her movement, rescuing around there. That's really good. This is a very useful pairing in like LTCs or speed runs, even though these lists are more of like a general thing rather than like ranked or something like that. There is a glitch you can do, like the rescue glitch. Basically, just has like some people term like reverse gale force. You can just keep moving as long as you don't combat. You can just keep moving again and again. But even ignoring that glitch, I still think this is a solid pairing. The main thing holding it back, maybe for probably being the best, is that it really hurts Lester. Passes down poor strength, just like Azelle and Lewyn. No bow adherence and no skills. Lester is really crippled by this pairing. If you're doing ranked run, you can give him enough gold rings to like give him enough XP in the arena and various situations where you can do it, like still get him enough XP to meet your ranked run requirements. But generally outside of that, more practical context, if you do this pairing, Lester is just, he's not worth doing anything. When I did this pairing, I just made him in chapter 10, even though I had enough firepower to defeat Ishtar like outright, I just used Tim to make Ishtar and Julius go away, if you know what I mean. So yeah, Lester's really hurt, but very significant boons for Lana, best pairing for Lana just because of the rescue staff. So I think it's best, but Midir's more generally practical. And the substitutes units. Now, sometimes the substitute units, they do have a unique quirk that makes them, at least, okay or good. Here, I mean, he does have Pursuit. Can't remember his name. Like, I'm terrible with the substitute units' names, but that at least puts him better than these guys, but that's about it. No, like, doesn't start, just has an iron bow, just like Lester would if he doesn't have a bow inheritance. No particular skills, no particular special stats, so, like, marginally better than these because he has Pursuit, but not much. And then Mana is basically just the worst possible version of Lana. No skills, no Holy Blood, no secret like stats or anything. Just whatever the worst possible combination you get for Lana, that's about what you get with Mana. So no really reason to go this route. And that's all for Ardan's kids. As always, thank you so much for watching. Any questions, comments, rude or snide remarks, please let me know below. This is Enigmatic Mr. L, signing out.